Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are taking a look at the unique and special are exactly the same, but anyways, the Tier 6 Japanese Destroyer Premium, the ShiNONOme. And anyone that does not know, this is a ship you can earn after completing the, I believe it's the Honorable campaign that World of Warship does offer. And it's definitely worth the grind. It is going to be a little bit more difficult than the original campaign, the little bit easier one. But once you actually finally get it, she's a pretty decent Tier 6 premium destroyer. Very similar to the Fubuki in a lot of ways. Now we are playing on Fault Line. We have a Hiryu, Bogue, Warspite, Bayern, Congo, York, 2 Omahas, a Sims, a Minsk, a Farragut, and ShiNONOme. On the enemy team, there's a Ranger, a Zuho, New Mexico, Fuso, Atlanta, Alba, Emerald, Mahan, Shiratsuyu, Farragut, Musuki, and a Granamashiki. And I will have to say, I feel kind of bad for our friendly CVs, especially the Tier 5 Bogue. He's definitely outclassed by the enemy Ranger. And I'm pushing quite heavily into the A cap, and there was a Shiratsuyu and I believe a Farragut and Atlanta that were heading this direction, and it looks like the Shiratsuyu is coming our way. Now the torpedoes are very good, 63 knots, and they have an 8-kilometer range, and you have 9 of them. Guns are pretty good. As you can see, we're doing pretty decent damage, and it looks like the enemy CV is coming our way. I think it's time to slow up and pop our smoke. Now, unfortunately for me, I am not running premium, and the Shiratsuyu does go down to our torpedoes, and we earn first blood. Now, unfortunately for my friend Jay, he is currently getting spotted by the enemy CV and just got dropped, and there are the Shiratsuyu's torpedoes incoming, and we have a very brave Omaha. If we actually get another torpedo hit, which is actually rather surprising, considering those torpedoes probably were spotted the entire time. I believe the Atlanta actually took that hit. It looks like the Farragut has popped up, and we get ourselves a fire. Very nice. Now, kind of keep, like I said, kind of keep an eye on this Omaha. He is very ballsy. So high praise to him. And torpedoes are incoming, and Jay, unfortunately, or better yet, fortunately, actually does survive. Whoa, those are very, very close torpedoes to the Omaha. Probably didn't like that, which is unfortunate for that Omaha. He was very lucky there. Now, there is a Farragut, and I believe Mahan is going over there as well. Torpedoes are back up. They reload fairly quickly, minute and 3 seconds, so very quick to reload. And our team is doing a very fantastic job, even though we have a Bogue that is currently AFK. I think, actually, is he assisting? I'm trying to think. Maybe he is. Maybe he's air superiority right now. That might be the case. Now, once again, our team has captured all of the caps. There are some fairly potent destroyers over here. Definitely the Mahan is the one I'm more concerned about, and obviously the Atlanta is one I don't want to deal with. But the Omaha, like I said, is being extremely brave right now. He's actually pushing in. Both the Farragut and Mahan are obviously backing up to get torpedoes off. Probably wanting to get the kill, and you can almost hear like the seagulls from Finding Nemo right now. You can almost hear that right now. But the Farragut does go down. Very nice. We get our very first kill of the game. The Omaha is just getting pummeled away right now by the Atlanta, and that's actually kind of good for us because we are not being targeted by the enemy Atlanta. But unfortunately for our friend in the Omaha, he is going to go down. The Mahan pops out of the smoke screen and essentially gets hit and nailed by both me and Jay. Is trying to slip away, and it looks like the enemy CV is now incoming. And I probably should point out the ShiNONOme's AA is non-existent. It has one gun. And we can actually quickly go take a look. It is right there in front of that second smokestack, and it is essentially useless. And here I am being targeted by the enemy CV and trying to dodge these torpedoes. We're gonna have to just try to run into the map border just to get away. Currently waiting on not to be detected by the enemy CV. And you can tell the Atlanta is coming closer and closer. These guns are just pummeling away. Does get a few lucky hits on us. And right now I'm dead. There's no way I can deal with an Atlanta this close. Just gonna have to rely on the torpedoes. And he is finally spotted. Torpedoes are away. Probably my last few moments on this ocean at the moment. Fortunately, yeah, this Atlanta is going to take us out. Do get a few hits from our guns, so we do earn a little bit more damage. Now, fortunately, our friend Jay in his frigate is still alive and kicking, which is very good for us because the enemy team's not doing so hot right now. And we earn a flesh wound. That is kill number 4 for us, actually, which is downright fantastic. Only did around 37,000 points of damage. Most of those were against the enemy destroyers, so we did, like I said, fairly decent against the enemy destroyers. The Atlanta was just the unfortunate circumstances. So right now I'm quickly switching over to Jay, and it looks like there's a Bjorn and Fuso doing a knife fight there. I think they were like 1 kilometer away. Here's the friendly Bogue, who may or may not be helping. I'm actually kind of curious, and I'll probably look at this when I go back, whether or not he was actually assisting our CV with his fighters. Like I said, not quite certain on that. This Fuso is going to go down. There's just too many ships firing at him. And the enemy team, like I said, is not doing so hot. The only reason they're still able to stay above water right now is the fact that they have destroyed ships. But we are getting points increase at this moment. We are just racking up this huge difference between us, almost 700 points difference. And Jay is actually left alone, which is surprising. I'm surprised this carrier did not search a little bit more with his dive bombers. Because Jay is actually able to get almost all the way up to the enemy CV. And last location known about the enemy CV was behind that island right in front of Jay. And here we're just discussing how to intercept that carrier. But if he's smart, he probably will be moving. And yes, there is the enemy ranger finally in range. Or better yet, finally spotted. I believe Jay's range is only around 11 kilometers, something like that. But that's kind of normal for the frigate. Yeah, here we're just kind of discussing, going back and forth on when to fire. But the ShiNONOme, I really do think it's a good ship. If you like the Fubuki, you're gonna like the ShiNONOme. It plays very similarly. The torpedoes are fantastic. They don't do as much damage as the upgraded Fubuki as the tier 6 does now, but 63 knots, 8 kilometer range, 9 torpedoes, pretty decent. But once again, you just have to grind up all the way through the honorable services just to get it. And I might correct myself. I'm pretty certain it's the honorable services, but if I'm wrong, I will post it up now. But definitely worth the grind. It is a fun little destroyer. It is a fun little destroyer, and the enemy team, there's nothing they can do. They have essentially lost, even if they were able to take out 1 or 2 of our ships. Not likely they're able to do much. This Ranger is just going to get pummeled away by Jay and his destroyer, and it looks like the CV is coming in as well. Yeah. But who's going to get the kill? That's actually something good to know. And it looks like it's Jay. So moving on to the ship itself and the stats, I have to say I really do like this destroyer. It's a fun little destroyer, well worth the grind through the campaigns. I honestly have forgotten about the campaigns because I have actually completed them. I am going back through and hitting those that I have did not do just so I can feel like a completionist. But definitely worth the grind. She is a very nice premium tier 6 destroyer. She can make you quite a bit of money. So once again, yeah, definitely worth the grind. Very, very fun to play with. Survivability 12,900, which isn't too bad for a tier 6 Japanese destroyer. The guns are pretty decent. They are sluggish on the reload. As you can see, it does take a little while for those guns to fire. 9 seconds, 30 seconds turn time on the guns, which is pretty decent. It's not the greatest for a destroyer, but considering it used to be a lot worse, and it turns at the same speed of some cruisers, pretty decent. Maximum dispersion at a range of 9 kilometers is 77 meters, so very tight dispersion on these guns, and they are pretty decent. HE is 1,800 with a 7.5% fire chance. AP you don't see all too much, but it can do 2,200. And the AP and HE shell velocity is 915 meters per second. So pretty fast traveling guns from the barrels. And they go fairly straight to target, as I kind of, when I played, they felt like they went straight to target. Didn't have a lot of hang time that some other tier 6 destroyers have. Moving on to torpedoes, you have 3 torpedo tubes, 3 torpedoes each. They have a 8 kilometer range, 63 knots. Reload time is 65.7 seconds. Max damage is 14,600, and the torpedo range is 8 kilometers, like I said. But what is probably fantastic about these torpedoes being at a tier 6 is that the fact they are 63 knots. So if we quickly take a look at the Fubuki, which I have not taken a look at the Fubuki in a very long time, not since it was the tier 8. The Fubuki's torpedoes, yes, right now at the 6 kilometer when you first get the Fubuki, is 63 knots, but the range is 6 kilometers, which is 2 kilometers under. And if you want to work with the torpedoes on the Fubuki, and more than likely you want to, you would get the Type 8 Mod 2 torpedoes. And yes, this will do more damage, but they're also a little bit slower, and they do have, granted, a longer range, but 63 knots at 8 kilometers, while the ShiNONOme detection is fairly low, is pretty beneficial, especially at 6.1. So you have 1.9 kilometers to play around with when you're firing your torpedoes. So pretty decent. Moving on to the AA defense, there is almost none. There's this. That's it. This destroyer has pathetic AA. Pretty non-existent AA. What to speak of. Now, the Fubuki definitely does have more AA, since it only has 2 guns versus the ShiNONOme's AA to speak of. So there's nothing really to talk about this AA defense. Maneuverability is pretty decent. 36.8 knots, 640 meters with a rudder shift time of 3.2 seconds. So overall, not too bad. And once again, the concealment is down to 6.1. That's with the captain skill of concealment expert. Moving on to the consumables, it's very, very similar between any other destroyer. You have damage control, smoke, and speed. Moving on to the modules, I kept it fairly the same. There's not really anything extravagant. You could possibly mess around with, yeah. Yes, you want to totally get the AA Guns mod too. Totally beneficial. There's nothing you really could change that would make the ShiNONOme very powerful. So I would just stick with the very basics. Captain skills, probably very similar to how my Shimikaze captain is set up, is how I would do it. I would probably switch over to priority target. I'm really liking the priority target, knowing when someone's looking at you in the wrong way. Granted, you do not get the bonus of the minus 30% risk to incapacitation of modules, but still would be nice to know when you need to pull away. But if you're a good captain, you should be able to kind of figure out that most of the enemy players are going to be looking at you in the wrong way. Last stand, obviously, you could possibly go for survivability expert. I would probably not do this on the ShiNONOme. Essentially using more of my detection and my maneuverability to get out of harm's way. Obviously, torpedo armament expertise, basics firing training is very beneficial, especially with the guns, reducing that by 10%, so bringing it down to 8.1 seconds instead of 9. Superintendent's very beneficial, and obviously concealment expert. But once again, the ShiNONOme's captain could easily go for something a little bit different. Having that basics firing training is beneficial. You could possibly go even for demolition expert. You could have two things of the priority target. You could even go with expert marksman. I'm not saying that this ship is going to be a good gunboat, but that is one choice you can definitely get. So overall, this is actually going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zaijian.